Well, they did it.
As you like to say, they're doing the damn thing. They're almost there. They are almost there.
They're on the road to victory.
Yeah. So how's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Sarah and I just got finished watching the semifinal between England and Sweden. I don't think anyone was expecting what happened tonight.
It was wild. We say that, but we mean it.
We do say that. I don't think anyone would have thought that England was going to basically smash Sweden. And I feel bad saying that. I'm a big Swedish fan, Swedish football fan, but they smashed Sweden.
They did.
That's what we're going to talk about in this video. England is almost there. They're almost to the point of winning the Euros at home in Wembley Stadium. I mean, I don't think a fairy tale for these players, and it could be any better other than maybe a World Cup. But other than that, I mean, about as great as it could be. So that's what we're going to talk about today. England 4-0 Sweden. And going into the game, I think a lot of people thought that it was going to be a tight game, whoever won. Going into the game, they talked a lot about England, that Sarina Wegman, that she's been putting the same lineup out there for all the games because they've been winning. So your thought is, well, if you're winning, why change it?
Yeah, it's been helping.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. So, I mean, we're going to talk about the match. You know, Sarah and I, we're not going to get into the tactics of the game, but I mean, starting out, Sweden looked great. They went out there, and within the first 30 seconds, they had a shot on goal and almost scored a goal within the first 30 seconds.
I know. That's kind of how I thought the game was going to go.
Yes.
Okay, Sweden was going to really...
Yeah.
A lot of turnovers.
It was a very fast-moving game. It was the pace was very fast, and I thought everyone knew that pace wasn't going to hold up.
It was like a race to whoever can score first.
So Sweden came out fighting at 10 minutes. There was a play that Christina Uncle thought should have been a yellow card on Sweden. At the beginning of the match, England was gifting them a lot of transitions. So based on that, all those breaks that were going the Sweden team, you would think, okay, England's going to be on their toes the whole game. Then England really got in the rhythm. They really got in the rhythm of the game. First of all, what did everyone think about that first 10, 20 minutes with the Sweden pace? But what happens at the 34th minute? There was a
Beth Mead goal.
There was a Meado goal. And I keep saying this, from Beth Mead not even making the Olympic roster and she was gutted and everything, to being possibly the Golden Boot winner here at this tournament.
She's definitely proven herself.
She's like, every English person will know her name by the end of this tournament, and that's major.
Everyone wants to date her after this.
Actually, we do have a quick story about that at the very end, so look out for that. So she scores, and I was pumped for her. So it's still 1-0. Sweden can get back in, but they never really did. You know, a lot of people thought the defense, they just looked out of sorts when they weren't marking players, you know, at times. They just looked out of sorts. Also, Glas, she was one of the players out with COVID. And I saw this somewhere that, you know, Viv played the other day for the Netherlands and Glas didn't look great. And it's like, maybe these players coming back from COVID are just not ready for this hard physical game.
I mean, COVID takes it out of you.
Yes. Going into halftime 1-0. Feeling good. Sweden, I'm sure their locker room was like, you know, we're 1 down. We're not out of this. This game is so close that all you need is 1 goal to equalize. That's it. That's what the locker room chat is for Sweden. And they're still pumped. England, on the other hand, is probably like, we're 1 up. We have the advantage right now. So, coming back from halftime, within the first 3 minutes, Lucy Braun scores.
Yes, it was beautiful.
That was a wild header. She was so far out.
I know, it was a far one. Man, she's got a good head on her shoulders.
So she scored. So at that point, 2-0. I mean, now, even though it's still pretty early in the game, you think, okay,
possibly make a comeback.
Right. 51st minute, Caroline Seger comes in. Maybe that could pump up the Swedish team. Okay, in the 52nd minute, in the 55th minute, Sweden makes some substitutions. But in the 68th minute, one of the most beautiful goals, one of the most crafty, spectacular goals.
One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Alessia Russo pulls like a magic trick out of her hat. Like here's a rabbit all of a sudden. Like,
yeah.
Because at first there was a ball and it could have been tapped in. Then they're calling it the heel kick goal. What did you think of that, Sarah?
Yeah, she just kicked it in with the back of her heel, and I don't know if it was skill or luck or both, but
I think a little bit about. She nutmegged 2 players or the goalie.
I know. God, that was some good luck. That was iconic.
I mean, I think at that point, I think everyone thought game over. I mean, it was, game over. With that kind of luck, doing what they need to do. Then in the 75th minute, Fran Kirby scores. It's pretty much over at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then they win. I mean, Sarah and I have made that game very simplistic, but it was so exciting to watch. I think a lot of people, I don't know how to say it. A lot of people, I don't want to say blame, a lot of the blame on the goalie, the Swedish goalie. Lindahl, she too many mistakes for a Euro semifinal, too many mistakes. And obviously it's a team effort. The offense didn't exactly score any goals, but at the very end, Ian made a comment, said for the 3rd or 4th goal, I think 4th goal, he had said something like, Lindahl made a mess of it. She made a mess of that goal. And then kind of they fell apart. Just had too many mistakes, you know. And I saw a couple of people say, is this going to be her last international tournament? She is one of the older players, but a lot of times goalies go till they're pretty advanced. So
into their 60s.
But I did feel bad. Then again, as much as England looked great, they didn't play perfect either. I saw somebody talking about after the match, Lucy Bronze was walking around and she kind of had a look on her face. And I saw someone online saying, what was wrong with Lucy Bronze at the very end? And then somebody pointed out, they said, she didn't have the greatest of games, even though she did score. She had some defensive mistakes. Not that I necessarily could point out, but people who know soccer more than me.
I remember one in particular where they made a shot on goal.
Yeah. And so she was probably possibly upset at herself for missing that. You know what I mean? That
I mean, that's Lucy Bronze. She's got high standards.
She does. Lucy Bronze is very high standards.
She's gonna kick herself, even though they won. It's like, oh, did I play to the best of my ability?
Exactly.
I probably didn't. So.
Exactly. And so, but England looked great. I mean, that match was something else. I do like those really close matches, but those matches like today where it's like a no doubter, if those matches today that kind of build up and then all of a sudden they kind of run away with it.
Yeah.
Those matches are really fun.
You never know how it's gonna go.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, Sarina Wegman, she really is like a master. Like, Netherlands wins the Euros 4 years ago, does so many good things, comes here. We remember Phil Neville, Neville, I don't think ever was the players were completely buying what he was selling at times.
Yeah.
But these players really, really, really seem to like Sarina Wegman, and they respect her.
She is a master. She is a master of disguise.
The players really respect her. And for a coach, that's really what you need, is the players respect and players that they believe in the coach. If they don't have that belief in the coach, then they're not going to play to their best ability. And the team just seems so self-confident right now. Like, it's a self-confidence and within them. I don't think people have seen that much self-confidence as they do right now. And I think Sarina Wegman is a big part of that.
Yeah.
You know what? And I feel bad for Sweden. They had a devastating loss last year at the Olympics, and this is devastating to them to go out in the semis.
Sarah was telling me earlier after the game, she's like, I'm sad. And I'm like, why? England won. She's like, well, Sweden lost.
I feel so bad. I know. And Sarah goes, you're not good to watch sports with. You feel bad for the other team.
You're like my mother. She watches and she feels bad for the other person who loses. But it's like, if your team won.
That's not the way sports go. I know.
Yeah.
But there was even, Sarah and I just watched a video of Magda Eriksson crying. I mean, devastated, absolutely gutted. And of course you're going to be, but Sweden had a hard loss last year, but like, it's sports. That's the way sports go. But what did everyone think of this match? We were glued to our seats. We watched it live. We altered our plans to be home to watch it live. That's one of the things I want to talk about. We watched it live. It wasn't live where we live at 2:00. But I went on Daily Mail. Bad idea, I know, but
oh dear.
But I saw something good. So, like I was talking about at the beginning of this video, these English players, the whole country is going to know a lot of these players' names that had never known these players' names before. The average Joe on the street will know a lot of these players after this tournament. So I went into the Daily Mail on the British side, and I wanted to kind of see what they were saying, just because, there's a lot of haters for women's sports, for women's football, especially in soccer heavy countries. There's a lot of haters. But
you know who you are.
I will be honest, I was like so pleasantly surprised to see the comments on the Daily Mail section being literally all positive. They were like, oh my gosh, I usually don't follow women's football, but this is great. These women played so well. The skill they have out there. Like, I read 100 comments. I saw maybe one haterish comment.
That's surprising.
So I was so excited to see so many people so pumped. Obviously, they're going to be pumped when they're winning, which they are. But I also will say, I think the fact that it's in England, they're doing so well, and it's primetime viewing in England. So when we're watching the games here in America, they're like 2 p.m. But when you're in your home country, your team is winning, and it's primetime, 8 p.m. at night or whatnot. Everyone in town has the Euros on.
Hot stuff.
Because I remember last year at the Olympics, I think a lot of people, even if your team was winning, if the games were like live at like 4 a.m, you know what I mean? So it's hard to like, when it's primetime viewing live in your home country. I mean, a lot of these players are going to be big stars after this.
It's like X Factor when it was live, a Saturday night.
Oh yeah, we love that.
In England.
We used to like live stream it like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, Sarah.
Yeah.
It was like the best. So the one thing I did want to mention, there's no correlation to this, but talking about people being famous, Beth Mead had the first goal, and she's been looking great. I mean, so pumped for her. But Melanie C, which we all know as Sporty Spice,
Mel C.
She did an interview with Marie Claire, and the Euro being in England, it's a big topic. And obviously for someone like Sporty Spice, where she's almost like famous for being sporty, even though she's not in sports, she's a musician.
Yeah.
And Marie Claire is interviewing her. She is an ambassador for Booking.com, which is a sponsor of the Euros. So it's kind of all tied in. So they're talking about women in sport and getting women involved and respect and all that stuff. But they asked her, Marie Claire asked her, they said,
so they asked, does she have a favorite player in the tournament? And she says, I've got a little bit of a crush on Beth Mead at the moment, but they're all really likable.
Isn't that so funny? That's so cute. Yeah. Isn't so, I mean, they're talking about these players. I mean, Sporty Spice, I bet when Beth Mead was 10 years old, 15 years old, for Mel C to be talking about her in an article.
She's dying.
Yes. I mean, that's major. So these players are amazing. We will see what happens. France, Germany plays tomorrow. Their semifinal, and whoever wins that, it's going to go to Wembley. But it'll be exciting. I do want to mention one quick thing. As we both know, Beth Mead and Viviana Meadema both play for Arsenal. And Arsenal has been pretty cheeky, if you ask me. So if you go to Arsenal's Instagram page, we know that Viv and Beth both play for Arsenal. And Viv famously re-signed for 1-year contract for Arsenal. First of all, I'm glad to see Viv at the game. She was so gutted the other day. Obviously Netherlands lost. But if you look here, she's right there. And she has an English jersey on, so she's representing. And then Arsenal was very cheeky. And what did they put, Sarah?
Meadema. Beth Mead and Viv's name smushed together. Different spelling of Meadema. Beth and Viv.
And then had a picture of Beth, which I think is so funny because I think I was even reading online, a lot of people didn't even put 2 and 2 together because the way you say Meadema and Meadema is exact same way as Mead.
Meadema.
Yeah. But I think Arsenal's doing a little funny business there. And then Beth in the comments says, my number one fan at Viv Meadema. Heart.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, at some point, I think we are going to do a video of what's going on more in depth with this situation. I just thought that was hilarious. And I think Arsenal is just messing around at this point. I think they're just having fun.
It's, it's funny. Who would, Meadema?
But it's funny. But people, they know WOSO fans think in the way that you and I think about that. I just thought that was hilarious. But we'll kind of get into that in another video. But what did everyone think about this match? It was thrilling, and I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm excited. I'm so excited for England. I am whoever it wins for Germany, and whoever wins Germany and France's match, I'm obviously rooting for England. But I'm also rooting for whomever's playing the best football as well.
No, that's not what a true fan would say. England all the way. Oi!
That's true. Actually, and
You need to leave.
I was saying after the after winning celebrations that Ellen White was like crying. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen her cry like that. Like, I'm sure she has, but she was like very emotional. Like, very emotional. It just shows how much this means, obviously, but how much truly it means.
Well, and playing the beautiful game. It's exhausting on your body. It just takes it out of you,
And mentally.
Yeah, it takes it out on you physically and mentally.
Yeah. So, but what did everyone think about this? Were you guys all thrilled? Sarah and I were pumped, and go England. Woo! And they did show a lot of like the male footballers supporting the women. Like I even saw David Beckham left a comment on the Lionesses page and stuff. So
is he retired?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. Okay. Questions, comments down below. What did everyone think? Who's gonna have a party, a Euro party on Sunday? That's what I'm saying. We should get a pizza.
Oh, that's our go-to. Okay.
We should. Questions, comments down below. We'll see everyone later. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.